Okay. But like I said, that's what they saw. They saw with Roman Reigns another big time player. They saw basically, some people call Roman the next John Cena. So yeah, they saw that with Roman Reigns. That's why they didn't go with Chris Hero. And I think also in the fact, maybe, this is just my opinion, taken away from this interview, I think perhaps they were afraid that fans would look and see that here's this Shield stable aligning with CM Punk, and oh my God, three of the guys are Ring of Honor guys. Two of the guys are just like CM Punk. They're former Ring of Honor guys. The former ROH guys. And oh, look who's with them. A guy that used to be part of CZW. Another promotion that Hero and Rollins used to work for when they were on the Indies. So I believe, in my opinion, they were afraid fans would really get behind this group if it was the three, if you had Hero instead of Reigns, because all of a sudden you're acknowledging through their eyes Ring of Honor, and fans are going to want to see more of Ring of Honor like stables and wrestlers and divas showing up. And WWE's afraid. They're afraid of that happening. That is why the Shield became what it is, apparently. And the other thing I take away from the interview is that when it comes to the Shield, the original plan was for them to be a group for not as long as they were, but to be a group just for a little bit, have them break up, go their separate ways, and then have CM Punk feud with them. And again, I think that's another thing that I take away from this. The fact that if they had gone with Hero instead of Reigns, and it would have been Rollins, Hero, and Ambrose, or Rollins, Ono, and Ambrose, and they would have gone their separate ways like Punk had said the original plan was, and had these individual matchups, people would have been going nuts because it would be Ring of Honor matches. They would be getting on WWE. It'd be Punk versus Ambrose. It'd be Punk versus, well, it wouldn't be just Ambrose. In the eyes of the fans, and this is probably what WWE feared, it'd be Punk versus Moxley. It'd be Punk versus Tyler Black. It'd be Punk versus Chris Hero again. And I apologize for that. That's my dog barking. I'm sorry. But like I said, that's probably what they were afraid of. The fact that fans would be acknowledging and seeing, in pretty much knowing that where these guys came from was all one area, one promotion, like Ring of Honor. And I think WWE, in my opinion, was afraid Ring of Honor was going to get more exposure, more mainstream attention because of that. That's why they took Hero out and said, no, we're not going to go that route. We're going to put Reigns in there. And that's what they did. That's what they did. They decided not to go what I think some people after hearing this interview might agree would have been a better route. But they didn't. Did we get a good Shield group out of it though? Yeah, we got a good one. It's still doing what I think is gonna. I see it, and like anybody else sees it, it's still gonna do what it's supposed to do. It's gonna make them stars. So I do see that happening. But to hear the fact that WWE, because it sounds like to me like WWE was reluctant to say, okay, we'll give you Ambrose, but we're not going to give you Hero. We're going to put Reigns in. It's like WWE was basically saying, look, we'll give you Ambrose, but we're not going to give you Hero. We're going to stick it to you, and we're going to give you one of our guys, one of our homegrown guys. And that's what they did. All because he has that look. pretty much figured, hey, none of the other guys, as good and talented as they are, and as much as they're going to be the future main event of a main event of our company, they don't really have that look yet. This guy does. So instead of giving Hiro or Ono, we're going to put Reigns. So basically, in a sense, they stuck it to him anyway by putting Reigns there. Now, was that a good idea in their opinion? WWE-wise? Yeah. WWE looked at it as a good idea because, hey, it's one of their guys that they're going to definitely make sure to get behind and so he becomes the next big thing, if you get my drift. Now, another thing I took away from this is what he mentioned about jobbing and putting over guys that weren't even there. And this I do agree with. I do agree with it in a sense that I can understand Triple H, as much as I'm a Triple H fan, and I'm a fan of the guy. As much as I can understand that situation, that hey, here's Triple H, here's the guy that is there, he's the freaking COO of the company, he is on television, why would he have to go over somebody that's white hot like CM Punk? Doesn't make sense. If anything, you're supposed to put the white hot babyface or heel over instead of yourself. You're supposed to put the white hot babyface or heel over instead of yourself. And that is a troubling trend with WWE. As far as Undertaker goes, look, the guy, it was the streak, you gotta go with the Undertaker on there, and I'm pretty sure Punk knows that. I'm pretty sure he knows that. So I definitely disagree with that one. But as far as The Rock goes, here's The Rock. He's coming back. You want to build up to him and Cena and all that, and that's fine. But, I think honestly you could have given The Rock you could have given CM Punk at least one win over The Rock and then have Rock win the belt at Elimination Chamber. I mean, I understand and know that it probably wouldn't have made as much sense. It wouldn't have been as a big time deal as if not winning it at the Royal Rumble. But to me, I think in a sense, you would show that CM Punk is the champion. You're putting him over The Rock, and then in exchange he'll do the honors for The Rock at the Elimination Chamber. That's the way I look at it. You could have done even Steven and then gone with the main event at Mania. But they didn't do that either. They didn't do that. And, again, as much as happy as I was for The Rock to be champion, and I'm sure there was a lot of fans that were, I think it would have made more sense if you would have gone in a direction that would have made more sense. I know some people disagree with what Punk had to say about, do the triple threat and all that, and hey, get me out of there in 5 minutes, fine. At least I main evented. I think what you gotta, at least I main evented WrestleMania. I think what you gotta look at from Punk's perspective is an old school perspective. Yeah, you gotta look at it from an old school wrestler perspective. And that is, even if you're in the main event, the last match of the night, and it's for the championship, and even if the match lasts only a few moments, at least you can say you main evented. You were in the main event. It doesn't matter if you lost the championship or you were eliminated in the first few moments or whatever. At least you could say you main evented WrestleMania. Now I know some people are going to disagree and say, well, I don't believe Punk would have accepted that and been cool with it. He would have thrown a fit. He would have bitched, moaned, and complained. And that might, and that might be true in your opinion, but the way I look at it, from what I take away from this, because I'm willing to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, is I think Punk would have been okay. I think from an old school perspective, he would have been okay with it, because at least he main evented WrestleMania. Does he have to be in the match that long? No. He could be in there. The match could go 30, 40 minutes, and he can only be. And if he's in there for only half of that, fine. At least he main evented. The match could go for 30. Could go for 20 minutes. He's in there for 5 minutes of it, fine. At least he main evented. That's what he's viewing from an old school perspective. That's what he views from an old school perspective. And again, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. I really am. So, that's the way I look at it with Punk. Like I said, that's how I look at it with Punk there. Now, as far as the whole thing with Ryback, there's a lot of fans that are behind Ryback, but that momentum may die down now. I guarantee it will. I think, Punk is kind of right about Ryback in a sense. Here's a guy that you could say, well, he's been with the company since about 2009, 2010. It's been about 4 or 5 years. He's going to make mistakes. Everybody does. And I'm not disagreeing with that. I mean, look what's being put all over the internet. AJ Styles. He's botching up on his own Styles Clash. And this is coming from somebody that met AJ Styles and actually talked to AJ Styles and actually was given a nickname by AJ the night I met him, when he said, "Oh, it's the guy with 1,000 questions." But again, everybody makes mistakes. It's kind of the excitement. It's the heat of the moment. Now, did Punk have a legitimate gripe with that table spot last year with Ryback? Of course, he had a legitimate gripe. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't have a legitimate gripe. Here you are trying to clean the slate with the guy that you've already feuded with. You have the roles reversed a year later, and you're trying to trust him to, do the right. Trust him to not make a mistake, and yet he makes a mistake. Again, we're all going to make mistakes. Everybody does. So, to me, does he have a legitimate gripe? Yes. Do I think it was right of Punk to call Ryback steroid guy? Not exactly, because we don't know. We don't know if he took steroids. We don't really know. So, to me, the whole Ryback situation is, if you're going to have Ryback work with Punk, I think what you need to do is you needed to basically send him down to NXT again. Maybe have him do a dark match, or maybe have him just train in the ring a little bit before the shows even start, so that the guy could at least know what's going on. At least let him rehearse and work with Punk, try to make sure nothing goes wrong or anything. So, that's the way I look at it. Is, you got this big guy, and you don't want to hurt your number one one of your top baby faces. Hold on for a sec.